Donald Trump and the Trump administration continues their just ruthless assault on the migrant population in the United States, and this time it's by further militarizing the customs and border patrol in some really just draconian and authoritarian and kind of fascistic ways, in a sense, some common dreams. These are the bad times. Trump to deploy heavily armed Border Patrol tactical units to help with immigration arrests in sanctuary cities. Oh my goodness. It's like, Jesus Christ. In a move that appears destined to escalate tensions between the White House and opponents, President Donald Trump is reportedly deploying customs and border protection tactical units across sanctuary cities in the U.S. to assist with the arrest of undocumented people, despite warnings from critics and rights advocates. The New York Times reported on the plan Friday afternoon, citing an official who received an email describing the weekend deployment, who read the text to reporters over the phone. CBP spokesman Lawrence Payne confirmed the details. These are bad times, data researcher Michael Cayley tweeted of the report. According to the Times, agents from the units from the Border Patrol Tactical Unit, or BORTAC, was spread across the country to cities like New York, Detroit, Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Boston, New Orleans, and New York, New Jersey, to work alongside immigration and customs enforcement officers to arrest people allegedly in the country illegally. With additional gear, this is nuts. With additional gear such as stun grenades and enhanced special forces type training, including sniper certification, the officers typically conduct high-risk operations targeting individuals who are known to be violent. Many of them are extensive critical records. So these are the type of people that will be going after these undocumented migrants in the U.S. with stun grenades, with special forces training, trained as they have sniper certification. This is just freaking nuts. This is like Nazi-esque. I don't see how you could view it otherwise. Just this total demonization of the migrants in the U.S. We shouldn't be obviously taking this approach at all. We should be, working on ways for them to get, legal citizenship within the U.S. and treating them as humans, treating them with dignity or respect, because everybody is deserving of that if you're undocumented or not. And again, we need to be creating pathways like yesterday for these undocumented migrants to become legal citizens in the United States. And again, these people aren't hurting anybody in the United States. They're, largely very hard-working people who want to come here to the United States to create a better life for themselves and their families. And oftentimes they are fleeing from the countries that they live in due to the direct policies and involvement of the United States in those places. So if you, obviously, Trump's not really concerned with why these people are coming here. He just wants to, castigate them as murderers and rapists, so he can take away the attention from the real problems in the United States, which is, wealth and income inequality, climate change, people at the, top of the income and power structure getting all of the other benefits while everybody else is at the bottom struggling, including poor and working class white people. Trump obviously doesn't want that attention directed there. He'd rather have it directed on some of the most vulnerable and marginalized people and groups within the United States. And that definitely, applies to, undocumented immigrants, unfortunately. I've read the article multiple times. National Immigration Forum Ali Noorani said, "It is unbelievable how much this action will undermine public safety." Unbelievable. significant mistake. Former CBP Commissioner Gil Kurlikowski. If you're a police chief and you're going to make an apprehension for a relatively minor offense, you don't need the SWAT team, said Kurlikowski. And BORTAC is a SWAT team. They're trained for much more hazardous missions than this. Like they said, sniper certifications, stun grenades, special forces type training to arrest undocumented migrants. Again, like ICE shouldn't exist. We shouldn't be militarizing, these agencies to go after some of the most vulnerable and marginalized groups and people. And it's just sick, disgusting, and immoral. Trump has long rallied against, railed against sanctuary cities for resisting his racist immigration policies. I believe Seattle is one. That's kind of the biggest, closest city I'm to. Writing safe havens for victims of ICE and CBP. The president's deployment of tactical units to the cities is the latest move by the White House against his political adversaries, tweeted Cecilia Munoz, vice president of the think tank New America. Officers trained in SWAT team tactics sent to help with run-of-the-mill immigration arrests in major cities far from the border, said Munoz. Trump is using military-style tactics because he has a political beef with the cities whose policy he doesn't like. And somebody else said, straight up Nazi shit, tweeted Invisible Director of Democracy Policy Megan Hatcher Mays, and I would tend to agree with that characterization. Sad but true. It's like, the U.S. is just becoming more and more of a police state, more and more authoritarian, more and more people's and different groups' rights are being taken away, and it's just really sick and disgusting. And it's, again, why it's super important that we do everything that we can to get Bernie Sanders elected as the next president to undo a lot of these horribly racist and xenophobic policies and practices that Trump and his administration has adopted, as well as just, putting somebody in the White House who's going to fight and advocate for the working people, not the billionaire owner oligarch class. And again, I think a lot of this also has to do with trying to, just change and limit the makeup of the voting electorate, trying to keep it as white and as old as possible, so Republicans and people like Trump can stay in power. It's not about making the U.S. any safer. People that migrate to the U.S. commit crimes at much lower rates than people that were born in the United States. And again, these are some of the most vulnerable and marginalized people in the U.S., just oftentimes just trying to live and survive and not to get deported. And it's just really sick and disgusting, this further militarization of the CBP by the Trump administration. And again, why we need to do everything we can to get Bernie elected to reverse all this horrible shit that Trump has put into place. Peace.